we get the question, who's going to be a guy that maybe from the freshman class that surprises and makes an impact right away? And this wouldn't even be a surprise. Jordan Marshall, to me, I think he is already maybe one of the most hyped freshman running backs to come through Michigan in a bit. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, they're pulling him out of the state of Ohio. But, he just in, he's enrolled. He's on campus now. Did not go through spring ball. Was not there yet. But I don't know that that's going to be a hindrance to him. I think that he is talented enough and well-rounded enough right out of the box to overcome that. I don't think he has to go through like the running back 101 class, so to speak. I mean, he's got good vision. He's got good instincts. He's got the contact courage. Even with a change at the running backs coach job, he committed to play for Mike Hart, but given that he's from Ohio, him and Tony Alford have known each other almost as long. So I think some folks have compared him to a Blake Corum-esque type of player coming out of high school. He's a decisive runner. He's got good vision, cuts well. And I think that he's going to play. And if you're asking me right now, and maybe it's naive, given that we've just talked about a couple guys that are pretty qualified for the job, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's the third running back on the field this year. And I think that even without them being in fall camp yet, there's a chance that he leads for that job.
I think, again, it's going to be somewhat uncertain in terms of what that pecking order looks like. And then I think he's going to impress in some of the games that he earns time in some of the other backups do as well. And I think Jordan Marshall is going to become a guy who carves out a role for himself as a true freshman. And like you said, he's kind of the total package in terms of, being able to do everything, run between the tackles. He's got the speed. He can protect, pass protect and pass block. He can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And, that Jordan Marshall jump cut on his highlights are fun to watch. So he's got some juice to him as well. I think he is going to have the third largest role among Michigan's running backs this fall. Then we'll talk about his classmate as well. But they get in the summer. It's somewhat difficult, to get up to speed for some of these guys to get there in the summer. But I think Jordan Marshall, one, has a great mentality and personality that absolutely fits being a Michigan football player. He does remind you of Blake Corum and some of these other guys in terms of his personality. And Mike Hart even told me that before he left the staff, that Jordan Marshall reminds him of Blake Corum, but also physically, he's as ready as they come out of high school. So I think he's got a real shot with a good fall camp to get some of the playing time early on and then kind of take that opportunity and run with it.
And part of it too, and maybe again, every guy's different, every recruitment's different, but it seems like when Michigan's been able to land these top 100 guys at running back of late, they typically see the field right away and have a somewhat prominent role. I mean, I think back to Zach Charbonnet as a true freshman, and then Blake Corum as a true freshman during that COVID season, Donovan Edwards, during the 2021 season. So, to me, I think the way that this offense is built, the way that they like to do it, and you just look at the caliber of player too, coming out of high school. I think right now, I think I don't really have any issues with saying he might be that number 3 guy. And certainly I think, he's going to have a role this year. He's going to get carries this year. For me, it's just a matter of when and at whose expense do they come at? Is it cutting into Benjamin Hall's playing time? Is it cutting into, does it start cutting into Khalil Mulling's Donovan Edwards? Like, is he that good? I don't know that, but
it's possible. Yeah.
I think that he's good enough to where it's all, the full spectrum of what he could be right out of the box, I think is there for him. So we go into this fall camp. I think, to me, in terms of Michigan's guys, I think he might be the most interesting to me.
Yeah. And the good thing is for Jordan Marshall is that they're probably not going to be in a situation where that they were in 2019 with Zach Charbonnet probably carried the ball too much as a freshman. Yeah. Like every kid wants to come in in play right away. But I think even Zach Charbonnet and people close to him thought maybe he carried it too much. Army game, he got like 32 carries or something like that.
I just did something on this. It was 33 carries for 100 yards and 4 touchdowns.
No, that was a wild game.
Not 4 touchdowns, but the 33 carries.
Okay. So yeah, they were pounding Zach Charbonnet. He set the freshman Michigan record with 11 rushing touchdowns, I believe it was. So he was the guy that got to play right away. But Jordan Marshall's going to get to sit back and learn a little bit, but also get a little bit of taste as well. And like you said, if he ends up being a guy that is that effective early on, he could be one of Michigan's main players on offense right away. I wouldn't predict it, but I think that possibility is there. And that's why, while there is kind of a clear 1, 2, and then, a bunch of guys competing for 3, this thing could change on a dime based on how they perform in games. And I think they're all going to get an opportunity to do that.
I think where my comfort level is with him is that just knowing what we know about his high school film, the type of guy that he seems to be, and I'm not putting this energy out there, but if there is some sort of injury to one of those top 2, I think he should be able to handle whatever they throw his way. Like if it's 20 carries, if it's 5 carries, I just think he has a chance to be a special player. And Michigan's operating out of a place of strength here because now you've already got the bird in hand, right? You've got Donovan Edwards, this big play guy. You've got Kalel Mullings, who, has everything you want in a running back, and he doesn't have a ton of carries to him. But if the best case scenario is that Jordan Marshall hardly plays, I don't think that that's bad for Jordan Marshall. I think it says more about those top 2 guys. I just think that he could be very, very good, very, very fast. And I don't want to put a label on him. I don't want to put an expectation on him. But man, oh man, I think that they have something here. And I think that he's going to be, when you talk about that pecking order for 2025, I don't have many concerns right now saying he might lead that. So that's where I'm at with him.